Welcome to MountBlue Prep. MountBlue Prep is a proprietary track of MountBlue, which helps you in improving your programming skills, wherein you can make an easy entry to MountBlue. Fine. So in today's video session, I'm going to take the topic of functions. Let me share my screen. Fine. So in programming languages, functions play a very important role. Generally, whenever we want to group certain statements, okay, there are different ways in which we can do that one. The function is a subprogram, a named block of statements that performs a specific task whenever it is executed or whenever it is called. I repeat, a function is a named block of statements that performs specific task whenever it is executed. And a function may or may not take any input, that we are calling it as arguments. Generally, whatever task we want to perform, that code we are going to write in the function, and from a function we are going to return certain value. Good. So in a function, like at a time we can return only single value at a time. So in JavaScript, how do we create a function is this way. You are going to use the keyword function, then followed by that you are giving the function name. So whatever function we want to perform, that task, in accordance with that, we should give the function name. So suppose I want to find the addition of two numbers, so I'm giving add is the function name here. So we want to find the addition of two numbers, so I'm giving the function name as add, and I have given here two parameters. So then you are going to enclose within the curly braces, and whatever code you want to write here, that you are going to write. So inside a function code, you can write any statements, like you can declare variables. Okay, simple code a plus b. To return a value from a function back, we are using the statement return. So in this case, we have added two numbers. Now, if you want to call the function, so how we are going to call the function is this way, using the function name, and it is expecting two parameters. So we need to supply two parameters, 100, 200. So this is your function call. You're executing the function here. So whenever the function is executed, it will go to the function code, and whatever code we have written, that is executed, and after the completion of this execution, it will come back to the place of function call. So in this case, it has returned value. That value returned we are storing in the variable result. Let's display this one. So this is how we can just create a function. This is one way of creating a function. Now there is another way, like you can use just like a variable name, you can give it add here and is equals to function. Then the same thing you can do it using this one. I'll make it simple here. Directly we are giving return a plus b. This would also work the same way as the above one. So we got the result here 300. So that is how, this is a simple example that shows you how to create a function, how to execute that function, or how to call a function. Generally, a function may or may not take arguments, like it is not compulsory. Suppose I have a function here, display, okay, console.log, Just I'm giving you welcome. So whenever you call this function, such functions which does not have any return value, you can see here, it is performing the task here and does not return any value. Good. So only the control will be returned back to the place of function call. So this another case, and in this case it is not having any parameters as well. So this is how you can just create functions in JavaScript. First way is this one, and second way is this way, and the third way also, like using the function object. How can we do that one? Let add is equals to new function. So the function object. Here, whatever parameters we want, we can specify here, and the last parameter should be the function code. Like suppose I want to give two parameters, so I'm giving a comma b. So this will go as the first parameter is a and second parameter is b. Now in the double quotes we are going to write the code, whatever code we want to write, that we are going to write here, return a plus b. So automatically it will take this argument parameters whatever you have taken into this code, and that can be accessed here. So that way you can use the function add. Yeah, a function should be coded first, then you can just call it any number of times. Once it is coded, you can just execute it any number of times. Yeah, we getting here result as 0. So this is another way in which you can create a function in JavaScript. Okay. So today we'll just take up some examples how to create a function, and some complex examples also we'll take up at the end of the session. So how functions can be used to carry out complex tasks, that also I'll explain it by the end of the session. Yeah, this is very simple. Like any newcomer who is not aware of this, like how to create a function, this is how we can just, there are different ways in which we can create a function. And a function can be called any number of times. You're going to code it once. Yeah, that is the advantage of function, that you code it once, you implement it once, and you can call it any number of times. That is the advantage that we have with functions. Okay. Now functions make it easy, our task. Like suppose we want to find, yeah, I'll just flip to this code function. Suppose we are giving add. So here, whatever we are giving a parameter, we should be careful with that one. If you are adding, it's not an issue. You are adding two numbers, okay. So just we are return a plus b. So what code we are writing, we should be careful with that. Suppose if you give console.log add of, it's a number, it's okay, it works fine. Got it. If the string also, in this case, it is work, it's fine. As JavaScript is a dynamic programming language, if you are giving two different strings, also it will work. Good. Just it will concatenate. Suppose if I give console.log add of, yeah, we can give any parameter. So 2 comma 3 in this case, comma 6 comma 7 8. Isn't it? So what it has done, it has just concatenated two arrays, isn't it? It is not addition of arrays. Concatenated the arrays 2, 3, 6, and 8. Suppose if you go objects, yeah. So this is the case that you should be careful. Like what is the value we are passing, and what are the operations we are performing in the function. In accordance with that, we should give the parameters or arguments that we are having in the function. Good. This is another case how functions should be handled carefully. As JavaScript is purely dynamic programming language, so the value that you are handling. Now another case, suppose if you are performing addition of two numbers, and a comma b, return a plus b. Yeah, that's what I'm coming to, that n number of arguments. Console.log, suppose if you have given add of 10 comma 20 comma 30, in this case I have given three parameters, isn't it? In strictly typed programming language like C, you will get an error in this form, isn't it? So you will get an error. Why? Because you are expecting 2 parameters here, and at the time of calling you have given 3 parameters here. So that would not work. But in this case, it would work. What will happen? It will just take these 2 parameters. 10 will be assigned to A, 20 will be assigned to B. Is that okay? Now you can see here 30 is left out. So in that case, the number of parameters passed should match the parameters. If we are having scalar values as parameter, then we should be careful about that one. Now in this case, suppose if you are having an array, okay, that is one case, we can go for that one. If it is an array, we can do that one. But the code to perform the addition of arrays should be different, isn't it? And the values supply should be in the form of an array. That is one thing. Yeah, and it can take any number of parameters. Good. Now in that case, it looks that user should compulsory send an array as parameter, argument or parameter, isn't it? Now there is another way also we can do, like one query has come, so I'll answer that one. Suppose if you are giving 10, 20, 30, and we want to perform destructuring, so you can give a dot dot dot. So in that case, what will happen? This will be treated as an array. Okay, automatically it will take that as an array, and these parameters, whatever you are giving, 10, 20, 30, will go into the array. You do not have to worry about this one. Any number of parameters you can give here. Add of 20, 10, 20 you are giving. Okay. So the code will differ here. So what we should write here, if it is array, fine. So add dot, you are going to use the function reduce of sum comma a, then the arrow function. Yeah. In one of the sessions, like some student asked, so are we using ES6? So we are telling JavaScript, but it is not purely vanilla JavaScript. So we are using some of the concepts of ES6 also. Fine. So what you'll be doing here, sum plus a. Good. Reduce is not a. It should be not add, but add. Sorry. We are applying it on array, na? So we got the value as 30. Suppose if we give now 3 parameters, also it would perform the sum, isn't it? 190. Like that. Any number of parameters. Ashok, your question is answered, I think. We can use any number of arguments this way. Okay. So you can perform any operations on this one. Suppose it will be like an array. I want to find the greatest among these numbers. Yeah. You can give function a comma b comma c here. You can give here. You can give this way also. For a comma b comma c, you can give any type of values. Suppose you're giving 3 different arguments, you're saying. Yeah, you can give any type of values. That is another question that has come in the chat. Okay. So this is how you can use this one. It's not compulsory that some of the parameters you are passing, and if you don't want to use any of the parameters unused, it's not an issue. It's not compulsory that all of the values that we are sending to the function must be used. Like suppose you have a function here, sample, assume you are having a, b and c parameters. Okay, and you're performing some operation that uses only a and b and does not use c, means that doesn't make any difference. Yeah, any other query, Ashok? So that way you can use that one and perform the operations on the parameters that are given. Good. So we can use that way functions and perform the operations on the functions through the function. Sorry. Now we can just check, like you should be careful, like what is the value that we are handling. So what is the code that we are writing, and what values we are handling in that function, that you should be careful with. Yeah, this is a simple example that shows you how to create a function in different ways and how to pass the parameters to function at the time of calling. And how many values does a function return? A function returns only one value at a time, isn't it? You may be having multiple, like suppose if we write max of greatest of three numbers. We'll check here. Max of three numbers. Okay, three numbers are given. Among that, what is the maximum you want to find? So how would you do that one? Yeah, let's do that. If A greater than B and A greater than C. Good. So I'll make it simple. Return A. Else if B is greater than C, return B. Else return C. Now, how many return statements are there in this one? How many return statements are there in this one? There is only one return statement. So whichever condition is evaluated to true, that first that statement will be executed. So whenever the return statement is executed, it will send the control back to the place of call. Okay, suppose if I just write here return A, it will just take the control back to the place of function call. So suppose if you are not giving anything, just return no value. In that case, what it will go? It will just send the control back. Good. So A greater than B, like this you can see here. So what is the scenario when all the numbers are same? It could be that scenario. Just we are returning. There's no max, isn't it? So you can just call it console.log max of 10, 20, 30. Good. So we are returning what any one of the statements are executed and that value is returned by that one. So whichever statement is executed first, that will be returned. ABC. 30 is written in this case. Good. And from a function, we can return a single value. At a time, we can return a single value. In some cases, suppose we want to return an array also, we can return an object, we can return a function also from a function. Now, yeah, function, suppose I have a read function example. Just it will return an array, let us assume. Suppose if you have an array, just not elaborating how to read that, it's a different issue. We are coming input from some other source, let us assume 10, 20, 30. Now in this case, we can also return an array, isn't it? Some operations we are performing and return AR, isn't it? So that would indicate that you can even return an array from a function. So that looks like as if we are returning multiple values, isn't it? So no argument is there. We are getting an array here, isn't it? 10, 20, and 30. Yes, suppose if you are having a function here, or like assume like let some s is equals to function of 20, 30. Yeah, it would return, sorry, not a plus b. So we are creating a function here, a plus b. Instead of that, if I return s here, okay, so what rate would give here? Add is equals to, suppose I am giving rate, isn't it? Let. So what is addition here is a function, isn't it? We are giving here return what space s. In this case, it's what function. The function code is here. So you are going to call it like this, isn't it? Ten, 20. Sorry, comma here actually. There are too many brackets. Okay. So that addition is not defined. Yeah, that is returning a function a comma b. Spelling is wrong here. ADDITIO. Yeah, we got this. So in this example, it shows you how we are using what, how we are returning a function. So you can return a single value, you can return an array, you can even return a function, or you can even return an object from an function. So these are simple examples that shows you how we can have different types. Yeah, in the case of parameters, you can even have the objects as parameters. Good. And we can do any operations. Like suppose I'll just write one function, simple function, like if you want to check what is the absolute value you want to convert, you can just have a function here, absolute value, okay, of a given num. So how will we write that one? So according to our requirement, if num is less than 0, so what we are going to do here, return minus of num, isn't it? Otherwise else, no need of else also here, just we are going to return n. So in this case, what will happen here, console.log absolute value of what, if you are giving minus 10, we are not using a mathematical functions absolute, we want to write ourselves, isn't it? Yeah, what is the, yeah, yeah, good. Unexpected end of input. So what is the input here, return n. You'll see here, where is the error, console.log here. There could be some character at the end, I think so. Line number 88, is that line number 88? Function is ending here, return n, okay, good. N num greater than 0. Will come from the top, will not code it. Ended, yeah, it did not end this one. So console.log absolute value of minus 10. In this case, what will happen here, isn't it? It is n or num, sorry, num, I think. So whatever value you have given, yeah, whatever value you have given, that will be returned. If you are given minus 10, it is 10. If you are given 10, it will be just return 10 value. Okay, so that's how you can just work with this one. Let's comment all these things. Good. So this is how you can check that one. And suppose based on our requirements, suppose whatever input we are giving, sometimes we are required to check what type of input we are giving, isn't it? Or like suppose we need to check, suppose if a given number is positive or negative, or if you want to perform the addition of two numbers, just now we have written, isn't it? With this code, like we'll see here. So when we are performing addition of numbers, you want to check that it should be only on addition of what, numeric values. So how would you do that one? How will you do that one? To perform the addition of two numbers, before that you want to check whether the input has been entered number or not. So what we'll do here, it should be a number we are going to check. So how we are going to check? Function is number. There's no such function called as is number. We are going to check that one, whether a given number. Okay, if type of num is equals to number, return true. Otherwise, what we are going to do? Return false. So actually like this function, before we perform the operation, we are going to check if is number. So there's no this function, we are going to check it. Okay, of a, and is, you want to perform the addition of integers only, is number of b. Then in that case, return a plus b. Otherwise, you are going to return 0 or invalid input. Okay, you want to find the addition of two numbers only. Got it. So in that case, what we have done here, we have used the function type what is number. Is that okay? It works. So is number of num you have given. So what will happen here? So in this case, it will check type of. Will give the data type. If it is a number, isn't it? Let's check this one. Console.log is number of, give here 9. Okay, it's true. Suppose if we are giving a string here, then it will return false. This function is number, used to check that one. So that way we can write it during the code. If you want to perform specifically operation on a specific type of data type, then we can just check it. This way we can just check it using type of. Yeah, like let's write that code here. Console.log, yeah, you can perform here. Now in this function, we are calling another function here. So you can see add of what 10, 20. It will work. Okay. Suppose if you are giving add of 20, then you're giving string. It will just give the output as what? Invalid input. Okay, the input is invalid. So that is how we can check it. So a more specific example I'll take to check what is the type, what is the type of value that we are dealing with. Is that okay? Fine. Suppose you want to write a function that checks function what type. Good. So what type, you are giving a value here. Okay, we need to check what is the type of value. So what you'll be doing here, if, then you're going to check what type of value is equals to what number. If you want to go for stick checking, you can use that also. Then you can say here it is what return, it's a number. Else if type of value is equals to what we have here, next type is string, return is a string. Fine. Else if, yeah, how we are using functions, that is what we are discussing. Type of value is equals to what can we have here, undefined. Okay, then in that case we are going to return undefined. And there is a boolean also. Else if type of value, so null is treated like an object, boolean, then we are going to return boolean. Else in all other cases we are going to return, it is of type what, object. If you are giving an array or object, then also in that case, or null, in that case we will be giving it as an object. Is that clear? So what this function would check, if a given value is there, yeah, it would check what is the exact data type of that value. console.log what type, isn't it? So function make the task easy for us. So just we are writing one function to check for all values and what is the type. Yeah, in the above function, like here, I have written is number. We have to check. So in this case, we can just give a value and get what is the type of value. Suppose if I'm giving a number, what type? What type is not defined. Okay, number I have given, it is saying this number. Suppose if I give it as a string, then it would say it's a string, isn't it? If I'm giving just true, let's check for all the inputs. It's saying it's a Boolean value. Yeah. If you're not giving anything, it is saying undefined. Good, it worked. Let's give an array. Array as an input. So array is also an object. Good. So that way we can use the functions and check what is the type of value. Good. And carry out the corresponding operation. Like suppose if you're performing multiplication of numbers, you can check if it is numbers only. Yeah, for addition it worked. You can add strings or arrays also. Okay. For this one, how it works, you're going to check it. Like you want to check whether a number is even or not. Okay. Like we'll take one example with that also. So good. So this is how you can use the functions and work with this and make your task easier. Yeah, and moreover, like most of the functions will take callback functions. So what is the callback function? A function being passed as a parameter that is called as a callback function. Like take the example of suppose a list of values are given. Let one array is given. Array is equals to 2 comma 6 comma 7 comma 90 comma 300 comma 20. Now I want to check what are the prime numbers in this array or even numbers. We'll take it simple. Even numbers in an array. So how can we do that one? So I want to get the even numbers from this array. There could be duplicates also, no problem. So how would we do this one? Yes, the answer should come. We are going to use a filter. Okay, good. For each, okay, you can use array dot for each and check whether each number is good. So for each also take a callback function as a parameter, isn't it? So I would like to use filter. Yeah, you can do it using for each and filter also. So how will we do this one? Array dot filter, isn't it? Yeah. Now in this filter function, I want to send one callback function that would perform the operation. What? Check or is even. Good. Let's whatever value we are getting, just let's console.log. Okay. Let's code the function here. So what is the function here? Function is even of value or num. You can write here simple code that if, what we'll write here, if value mod 2 is equals to 0, then we are going to return that value, isn't it? The code differs here. If it is not even, we are going to return just 0, or you can give false also. Now in this case, you can see it's a callback function. It will make it clear for you. Array dot filter, isn't it? So it is called giving the using what callback function. Now in the previous cases, like we were giving here value parameter, then arrow function, we have written what a or value mod 2 is equals to 0, then could work. But if we have complex code to be executed, so like then we can just create one function, and in that function we are going to code it, hard code the function, and filter will apply on each and every individual value, then after performing the operation it would just return the value if this matches. Okay, let's check this one. So in this case, it would match with what? Yeah, 2 is there. It has 6 is there. 7, you got the false. 90 is there. Okay, 300 is even, and this is even. Is that okay? Yeah, you can do it using for each also. Same thing, same logic you can apply and give the callback function here. Good. Yeah, if you want like whichever function, like filter is there, map is there. Okay, you can give it reduce also. Reduce also take the callback function. So that way you can just give a create a function and give it as a parameter, isn't it, to that function. So that is a callback function. Good. Yeah, let's go to objects. How we can have, yeah, like I'll take one simple example, like how we can use the number generator. Then we go to that. So what is the difference between filter and map? Filter will only just return those values which are matching this criteria, isn't it? Where we got the 0 value means it is false. It is not return that value. 7 is there, it's false, so return 0. So it will not be sent as a result. Yeah, how the value will take the parameter means you can see array dot parameter. Yeah, good question from Ravi Shankar. I think he has asked question like how this value is goes as a parameter means automatically see here when we are writing like this array dot filter, isn't it? So when we are writing like that, so it will be value here. Then the code that you want, you are going to write here, isn't it? So value mod 2 is equals to 0 question mark. What you'll be giving here? You'll return the value. Otherwise, it will be 0. Isn't it? This is the code that we'll be writing. So this value will be going automatically as a parameter to this function. We don't have to give that one. Just we need to specify that one. What is the name of the function? So the filter will automatically send that value as a first value that whatever it is taken. First it will take 2, then next 6, then next it will go like that. For all the values from the beginning first element in the array to the last element till all the elements in the array are processed. Is that okay, Ravi? Okay. So this is how you can use map as well. Map. So I'll just give this one. Suppose console.log. If you are applying the same on the map, what it will be the results here. Map. It will make it easy for you to understand as well. Is even. See here, where it has, yeah, you can just distinguish here. 2 is even, so you got it. 6 is even. So at the place of 7, return 0. So 0 was returned, isn't it? So when we are processing the value 7, we got the result as 0. Or if when we want to use the map, no, we, instead of using this one, we can give here that is undefined. You don't want to have any value. Instead of 0 is some value at least, isn't it? So we got 2, 6 undefined this one. Good. So that way we can give here the code that we want to execute. Yes, fine. So I will just go to the concept of objects, how we can use objects in this one, and objects can have the functions. Yeah, these are all basic fundamental concepts related to functions. More complex things will come up. Yeah, let's take here. We have we're creating one object as numbers. Okay, in that we want to have list of numbers. So list can be a blank empty array I'm giving. Now here I want to just store a number. Okay, for storing I'm giving one key as store, then function value. So how do you store the value into this array that we are going to write here? So this dot list dot push of value, isn't it? Yeah, if you are having multiple values, you can give here. Yeah, this was the question of Ashok sir. If you are giving multiple values also, you can store here. It is purely numbers, isn't it? We can check if it is number and push that also. If it is only numbers, good. Now, if you want to perform the sum of the elements, we can create the function like this, sum function. Okay, so it will return the function. So how it will return? So this dot list dot reduce of, yeah, reduce of what? Good. So what will be giving here? So in the list, how we are having the objects you are seeing here. Sorry, in the object, how we are having functions. That is what. There is no such object called as numbers. We are getting to purely to handle numbers. To store that value, we are using store function. Okay, yeah. Inside that, you are using the predefined functions of the arrays. Push some of the elements in an array you want to have. So you can give here s comma a. Yeah, you can give here what will be giving here? A plus, sorry, s plus b. Good. So you will return that one. So what is the sum? No, we'll return that. So you can just give here return. Now you want to sort the elements. So for that, there's no such function like directly to sort the, yeah. So we can use this one, sort function. Yeah, inside that we'll be using the function here, return. Yeah, this dot list dot sort, isn't it? So sort, you're going to have the predefined function, isn't it? So you're going to use the function sort. Like if you're getting confused, sorted. Let's take this one. So you can use the sort function, isn't it? So how that sort function would work on the list? This dot list dot sort. Yeah, it is also a callback function a comma b. Yeah, if you want to have the numbers sorted, this is a logic. So being a minus b. Good. So this is how you can see how we have just created numbers. Now you can just give here numbers dot store. I want to store here. Yeah, you can just give here store. So how it is stored? That one is number. Okay. So numbers dot store of 20, numbers dot store. I hope it works for everyone. Is that clear? So this is a simple function that shows how we are program that shows how we are using function inside an object. Good. So we can perform all the operands, sum, min, max, sort it, isn't it? Display the numbers. You can write some function display also, isn't it? Like displays all the elements of that. So all the things you are going to perform using the objects itself. So yeah, this dot list dot for each will use value. Okay. Numbers dot, you can see here display function you can call. This is how it works. Display numbers here. Some is contradicting, I think. We did not give the comma here. Sorry. One key, one property should be separated by other property with comma. You can see we got 10, 20, and 30. Isn't it? Console.log values. Yeah, these are parameters. These are the parameters, so we have not defined. Automatically, it will take. Arguments are parameters names, no, we don't have to give. Isn't it? Is that okay, Ashok? Yeah, this is how you can use the functions. Yeah, you can just call the sum function. I think it will give sum of the elements. Console.log numbers dot. It will return the summation of the elements of the array. B is not defined, so In which number? Line number 145. Yeah, it is A here. We have given B. So it is taking what by default individual things. Yeah, we could write that code and do that one, reduce of S of A in the form of what? String. So we need to convert that to, yeah, numbers and perform the operations. Yeah, by default it is in the form of objects. You can just check it out. Type of each value, it is in the form of object. Yeah, we need to convert that to objects and get the sum performed. Yeah, you can use the parseInt or number function and do it one. Yeah, numbers dot, yeah, you're having a callback function that the total, then value, then index comma array. Yeah, you're right. So this S is this one sum. Okay, then this is an array. So you can give your initial value as 0. So list dot reduce S of A. Then some, this is the value accumulator which will store the value. Then A, okay, is the value that comes from what? List. This dot list dot reduce, isn't it? When we are giving this one S, and A will go as a parameter. In the first case, S is initially 0. You can have that also. Things here 0 is added. That is actually concordant in the form of objects. We need to convert that to numbers and do that one. So at the end, like I would like to take one simple example of the index generator. How could we use functions for generating the index? Basically, the concept is how we are having functions inside an object to carry out the operations on that object data. So see, there is something called as index generator, like the generator function. It will work like this function star. Like suppose I want to have an index generator. Okay, this is a user defined function we are creating. So the what does the star mean here? That star indicates itself is an index generator. Let's suppose it's a generator function. Any value can generate, not compulsory index only. I want to have index starting from 0 for the most of the elements in an array, isn't it? So you can just place here while true. So it will execute continuously, isn't it? And we want to have that value. So we want to return that. So yield of index plus plus. So yield would stop execution there and would return the value. So whenever this function is coming back again it will start from that value where it has stopped. Okay. So how you are going to then generate this one using the function? Yeah, let index gen is equals to index generator. Okay, then console.log index gen dot value. Okay, the index gen, we are assigning that, isn't it? So we want to get the next value. For that, you can use the function here, next dot value, index gen. So we got the value as 0. Now so suppose if I'm calling this for next time, like for let I is equals to 1, this would execute 10 times, and you can see a index generator will automatically give you values, isn't it? Starting from 0, 1 to 9. Okay. So how that is working means this is the way, like the function start specifies that is the index generator. You can have any value, compulsory not, so it start from 0, it's not like that. It's like unit is 10, it will start from where 10, isn't it? If you want to have that value starting from a particular number, it will start from 10. Index yield of index means it has done 10, so it will stop there. So whenever the next, the next function is called here, it will automatically take the next value. Index plus plus means index value has been incremented, it will be 11, so index will be 11 dot value will give you that value from the index generator function. This is how you can use that one. Like in some cases you want to have the value generated automatically, for that reason we are using this index generator function. Clear? Good. So I'll stop the recording here and we'll go for the questions. Any queries you are having, just text me in the chat.